Yeah, so my business is this laptop lifestyle. I actually do a lot. I'm right on the Gulf of Mexico. My boat is right in the backyard. And I do a lot of my work out on the boat at sandbars, to be honest with you. A lot of my thinking. And see, a lot of people don't have the time to think. When you remove yourself from the matrix, all of a sudden you start thinking different because you have time. Like people do not even have time to think properly. They're so hectic. And I do a lot of my business building thinking out on the Gulf of Mexico. So I can take my laptop anywhere.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Ronin Mindset podcast. My name is Steve Didier, and this is a podcast where we have deep, intriguing conversations with digital nomads, expats, global citizens, and traveling entrepreneurs who have extracted themselves from the matrix and are now living life free and on their own terms. And today we have got a really, really special guest, especially for those of you who are looking to find a way to make money that's going to allow you this traveling lifestyle and this lifestyle of freedom allow you to escape the matrix. So on the show today, we have Mr. Darryl Chicoine. Darryl escaped the matrix 8 years ago, and he has not looked back. He says you only need two things to live a complete freedom lifestyle: new information and a new vehicle to get you to your new destination. His story from being able to restart life from just a laptop and phone is truly educational, it's inspiring, and it is motivational. Darryl, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Thanks, Steve. It's great to be here. It's great meeting you the other day. We really
Yeah,
connected, that's for sure.
yeah, I really, really liked our conversation, and I think there's going to be a lot because, you know, what you shared with me in terms of your story and what you've been able to accomplish and what you've been able to, not just for yourself, but in terms of helping other people make money and live that laptop lifestyle and live that life of freedom is really something different. So kind of give us a little background on your story. Where'd you come from and how'd you end up where you're at?
Yeah, so I've been self-employed for 30 some odd years now. And so I've worked for hard for money my whole life. My father, instilled that in me, just like all the other Gen Xers or older generations. And I had a health scare at 49 years old, and I just completely switched my life to the digital laptop lifestyle. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I just knew that I wanted that freedom lifestyle, and looking into, like, I've done so many businesses throughout my life, and looking into how would I ever achieve this was definitely going into the new digital age and creating online businesses. So that's how I escaped, and that's how I'm doing it now.
Very cool. And you are fully remote. You are currently, is that something you want to share right now or
Absolutely,
your status?
absolutely. My story is my business, Steve. You know it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was living in Canada, and 4 years ago, when shit went sideways, my business got completely turned off like a switch. I created, so 8 years ago when I went digital, I created software that ran in restaurants, automating sales and marketing for these restaurants. And my business got completely turned off when all the restaurants got closed. So I came down here to Florida, and I didn't like what was going on up there. I'm a freedom guy in many, many, many areas: time, money, what I do, schedules, when I work, when I don't, freedom across the whole board. And I did not see that in Canada. I saw the restrictions and restrictions more and more and more. So my first stepping stone was come to Florida, which was a free state. And that's my first stepping stone until I grow up to be just like you, Steve.
I'm trying to be like you, brother. And I'll tell you what, Florida is probably the only state that I would consider living in if I ever chose to move back to the United States. But I'm just like you. Freedom is my mantra. It's my core operating system on everything. And Canada's worse, but the US is following in those footsteps. And, I like you said, freedom in everything. And I don't see a lot of that in the US these days.
Yeah, like I
So,
said, it's a stepping stone, my friend. And I
yeah.
want to chime in about something about freedom that most people do not realize. Like in my previous chapter of business, I owned a granite countertop company with 14 employees. Guys, I lived in a this was 15 15 years ago. And I lived in a $1.2 million house. I had every single toy you could ever imagine, like even a personal motocross track beside my house. Like everything a normal person would like, oh my God, this guy's living an amazing lifestyle. And and if I didn't have freedom. I worked my ass off 10, 12 hours a day to be able to, because I was instilled, make money, chase money, make money, get all the things, live a luxurious lifestyle. And I did that, my friends, and it was great. It's better than having no money,
Oh, for
but
sure.
it wasn't everything. And when I switched to this freedom lifestyle, my friends, you just don't know how important it is until you actually live it. Like if you don't go to work for 6 months, try going back to a regular job after 6 months. You will never do it in 5 million years. You just
Yeah.
don't know how good it is until you do it. And this is what I'm really frustrated for you folks about that is because you don't have that experience to go, oh my God, like I would actually do anything, whatever it took to be in that position. And I really wanted to drive that home because you're thinking it's pie in the sky and it's really, really not. It's really
Oh,
not. I have zero education. I mean, hang on. I have zero formal education.
right.
I'm very self-educated, like I educate myself every single day on the things that help me move the needle in my life. But I'm a grade 9 dropout and I started in a new country in Florida. No connections, new product and service, no credit, no credibility. Nobody knew me
Nothing.
and I made it financially free again in 6 months. And this is what I'm teaching people to do now. Put me in the ghetto. I don't care. Every single excuse I just rhymed off, more than the average Joe. Put me in the ghetto. I'll be out in 6 months. So now I'm teaching this process, this 21 step framework that I have to other people. So they're more empowered to be able to do what they want and have better choices in their life because people want better choices. They just don't know how to get through the mind fuckery to make these better choices and all the ego things come up and the devil voice in us holds us back. And I'm just trying to tell you guys, like I'm an average Joe, and if I can do it, you guys can do it. Just have
For
the
sure.
courage. Life's a bitch.
Yeah.
Two bitches. Pick your bitch, my friends. It's hard to be in that matrix and it's hard to restart life. Yes, it is. But one is for the long haul and there's a short discomfort in learning something new. So when you look at it logically, there is a better choice, right?
It's the pills, right? Red pill, blue pill. Choose
Exactly.
which one you take. It's I love that because there's nothing. You're absolutely right. There's nothing more. I don't know what the term is. What is the term?
Fulfilling.
Fulfilling. It's just once you experience it, there is no going back. There is no going back. There is no way I could go back to any of that now. The 9 to 5, the none of that. I just am incapable of going back to that. Because once you're right, once you taste it, and a lot of people got a little bit of a taste during the pandemic when everybody was working remotely. Okay, so that's like one part of the puzzle,
Yeah.
but they still have to answer to the job, still have to answer to their employer or whatever. But when you that is one step, and a lot of people are like got their mind going a little bit. And I've noticed that there's a lot of people that are looking to get out of the US, out of Canada, out of the UK. There's a lot of stuff going on over there, and people are like, you know what? I'm out. I'm out. And they need a vehicle to be able to do that. And there's a lot out there. But what was really intriguing about what you shared with me the other day is that you went live. You got a 21-day program. You went live 21 days in a row. and built a business while people watch. You showed the behind the scenes of everything, correct?
Yes, it was amazing. I changed
And
lives. I changed lives. People couldn't believe it. See, instead of people telling you what to do, I actually physically, this was physically draining, my friends. I physically went through step by step and I built a business right in front of your eyes. And the people behind me were building as I built mine. And they were just like, there's people leaving their jobs in 60 days, 90 days, have the plan. I just finished this a week ago, but they definitely can see that they're going to leave their job in days, not years.
right, it's not some ambiguous time at some point in the future. They have like, okay, they can see it. They can see it developing. They can see the business growing. They can see the money coming in. So you can get that, you know what, 60 days from now, I'm free. And then big question is, once you're free, what do you do? That's something I've noticed with people. If they do get that, it's like, oh, okay, now they got to figure out where, okay, what are you going to do? They're so used to, they're almost incapable of thinking outside the get up, clock into work, clock out, go to the bar, whatever, go hang and watch Netflix with the wife or husband or whatever. And I remember when I first extracted myself from the matrix and got free, it's like, wow, the world's a big place. Where do I want to be? And I had a dog at the time, so I chose Mexico. It was a lot easier access for
Right.
me to get to Mexico from the U.S. and Central America and that. But yeah, those are much better decisions to have to make, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think when people are thinking about that, they're thinking of their normal paradigm and life completely changes when you can make 3 to 5 times what you used to make and you don't have any rules. Now, hey, this is not an easy gig. You have to be disciplined. You have to have structure. You have to have a mentor. You have to have a strategy. And then you got to work on your melon because this is not easy. But once you do it, you're absolutely free to do anything. And I remember, dragging my ass out of bed to go to my shop, which I owned. And now I get up earlier. I have no alarm clock. I get up earlier than I used to. So your choices and decisions completely get reverse of what you're usually making choices and decisions on. So when you can actually do anything you want, life really, really opens up.
Yeah, it really does. It really does. And that's a feeling that I hope more and more people can experience because there are those people out there, and we talked about this briefly. There are those people out there who no desire for this. And this conversation is not for those people. This conversation is for the people who yearn for something more, who know there's something out there and want it, but don't know exactly how to get there, or maybe are just a little hesitant or fearful to take that step.
Yeah. So how I switched from old school, I'm old, from old school work hard for money to a digital business was I just grabbed a mentor who already was living the exact life that I wanted to live and was kind of in the business that I wanted to do, which is teaching in the self-education industry. It wasn't crypto, it wasn't drop shipping, it wasn't Amazon. It was creating products and programs and workshops and all kinds of things that help people level up in life for the self-education industry because a lot of people are feeling duped with the old public school system or the formal education system. They're feeling duped. So they're looking for new information. And like I said, I've never been in the school system. So this is how I excelled very quickly was just saying, watching rich people, reading books, taking courses, spending 6, 7 G's to fly to Vegas to watch gurus speak on stages for 3-day events. My friends say, you're nuts. 7 grand and then you got to fly there. Yeah. Because you know what that's going to make me? And these are the people that don't get it. And that's why I love self-education because you can really learn. People have already done what you want. What the life that you want already exists.
Yes,
So why are you
100%.
figuring it out? Just model somebody who's done it already. They've
Yep.
got courses and programs today. Like
Right.
for a few $1,000, you can change your life. That is the quickest way mentorship and coaching. And a lot of people feel like, oh, it's expensive. I can't afford a coach. What do you think it's costing you now to stay stuck?
Right.
Miserable. What
So
do you what do you think it's costing you now to make the income you're making when you really could be making 5 times the income? What is that costing you? So it's how people look at it, right, my friend?
what advice would you have for those people who realize that what you're saying is the truth? They're like, okay, I need to find a different path. I need to find a coach, maybe a mentor or a program or something. And I know firsthand when you look at the personal development space, you look at you know, all the different ways you can make money online. There are a lot of shysters out there, a lot of charlatans, a lot of people out there just looking to cash in, take your money, and not provide. There's so many people who have gone to these courses and not got anything out of them. And obviously there are good ones out there. I'm not knocking all of them because I've taken courses that changed my life. I've listened, I did the same thing. I found, even when I was in real estate, I was like, okay, I found somebody who was making the kind of money I wanted to make, living the lifestyle that I wanted to live, and I modeled myself after them. And it took me 6 months to go from absolutely nothing to over 20 grand a month steady in real estate commissions. So I knew it worked from a long time ago. And I supplemented that with a lot of personal development. I was reading books. I was, sales programs. Like Brian Tracy had a great, The Psychology of Selling, right? Old school stuff.
I was gonna say you're not that old.
Yeah, man,
That's
I'm
old
old.
school.
So there's a lot of different things out there. What advice would you give to somebody who's looking to filter through all the bullshit and get somebody or something that is real?
Yeah, there are many, many ways, and you really got to look at, okay, what does it take? What kind of identity does it take to run that business? And if you got to, run it for 10 hours, is that sustainable for you personally? Or is something like where you can set up and get somebody else to run it where you're working an hour a day, is that sustainable? So it really has to be in line with what you like doing. If it's not in line, like, see, I don't sit on social media when a lot of people who make money online do, and I don't do that. I have other strategies. See, it's not in alignment with what I do. And this is why I've taken a billion programs, obviously, and what you're saying is you learn a lot. Even if you don't get the result, you do learn a lot. So you take a little bit from each one, and it stacks on to your education in this online world, which is a new world for many. So there's no way of wasting time, energy, or money on a program because you should really be learning something. And what we've done is we've really stepped back and say, okay, these seem like scams. Let's create a business where we draw from you personally, your existing skills, your life experiences, your life lessons, traumas, hobbies, passions. And we build a business from that, which now comes from your gut and your core. This is real. This is a sustainable business that's not a fad that's going to run out and change in 6 months. And when you build a business from your core and from your education, and you have a willingness to help other people, this really shines when it comes to selling it. And this is how I tell my people, you're not a salesman, no problem. We're going to build this where you don't have to sell it. It's going to come from your heart and your core. And it's just money is energy. I don't know if I get into that, but it's just going to come from your core, and you're not really going to have to sell it. We create no-brainer offers. Whatever price we set at programs and workshops and courses, the formula we use is 10 times more. Make this worth 10 times more and then take off a zero. And that's what you charge for it. So by the time the people are done, they've built something they actually believe in, not that they hope will work.
Right.
Is the difference. And then they also is easier to sell it because it's their personal gig. It's their personal mission. So they actually want to scream this from the rooftops when they're finished.
Right. Right.
This is
I
how
think
we're different. And I'm bringing back the human touch into the hey, if you need help, we're here for you. Don't abuse it, but anytime you're stuck, reach out because we know why you're stuck, and we can get you unstuck really quick. So this is why I take small groups each month through this thing so we can kind of watch and keep an eye on you because I want you to succeed. There's bigger things that we're doing. And the people that join my program, a lot of people are getting involved in bigger projects with me. This is why I hone in on the people that I bring in. I want the people to be proper and get results. So this program is different than what's out there. That's how I built it. How can I make it different? How can I make it better? And that's what I tried to do.
You got to differentiate yourself from the marketplace. There's a lot of noise out there, especially in this space. So let's back up a little bit. I know you made that transition from Canada to the US and went fully digital. What, like you're considering making that leap, right? And all this stuff I'm sure is going through your head. You mentioned you had a health scare, health issue. What are some of the fears that you had and how did you overcome them to actually take that leap?
So 8 years ago, I spent my winters in Florida. So I closed my shop 8 years ago. I restarted again in Florida 4 years ago when I left Canada. So there's kind of two new starts. So to restart from old school is probably what you're talking about. From when I had a granite shop, 14 employees. These employees were like family members. What did I think? How did I feel? I was a people pleaser. It's exactly what I was. And I always thought about where are they going to go? How, they all had kids. They depended on me. And that was kind of the hardest decision for me to make. As far as what was I going to do, I've been entrepreneurial since 16 years old. I've self-development for 25 years old. So I knew I could go restart my life. The hard part was the people I was kind of abandoning, I guess you could call it, because I was a people pleaser and trying to make everybody else happy was kind of my personal problem, to be honest with you.
I can relate. When you have a business and you have employees, as the owner of the business, at least me, and it sounds like you too, I kind of take on those people as my responsibility.
They were.
And that I could see where that would be a little bit of a tough thing because I'm the same thing. I didn't have a lot of hesitation. I knew what I wanted and I went.
Mm-hmm.
But when I talk to people, they have a lot of different things, like a lot of what ifs, a lot of hesitation, a lot of fears that usually keep them in place.
Yeah. Roots,
preconceptions,
mortgage,
programming,
jobs, family, friends, all the roots, good reasons, wrong reasons. See, for me, everything goes on a scale. When you become emotionally intelligent, everything goes on a scale. And I just put it on a scale and I choose that way instead of choosing from emotions.
Right. Yeah, more of an analytical approach. We're guys, that's what we do. Now you've been stationary in Florida for a little bit, but from our conversation before, you said you are definitely planning to get on the move. You have a dog that's kind of preventing you from doing a lot of extensive traveling right now, correct?
Yes,
But
yes.
what are your plans after that as far as traveling and how do you plan on, the logistics of running your business while you're on the road?
Yeah, so my business is this laptop lifestyle. I actually do a lot. I'm right on the Gulf of Mexico. My boat is right in the backyard. And I do a lot of my work out on the boat at sandbars, to be honest with you. A lot of my thinking. And see, a lot of people don't have the time to think. When you remove yourself from the matrix, all of a sudden you start thinking different because you have time. Like people do not even have time to think properly. They're so hectic. And I do a lot of my business building thinking out on the Gulf of Mexico. So I can take my laptop anywhere. So once my little dog as passed, then I'll be all over the place. I'm starting a new training company with a new partner, and she's going to have me on stage speaking around the world, my friend. So
Love it.
lots of
Love
great
it.
plans coming up.
Yeah, the laptop lifestyle is something, and when you start looking at connectivity and things like that, when I was traveling and I was just moving every month, I was crossed Asia and Vietnam, Philippines, Thailand. I always made sure that I did Airbnbs and I confirmed the Wi-Fi. But I've been looking at some other options lately so I can get even further off grid. What do you use on your boat? Do you have something like Starlink, or what do you use as far as that's concerned?
I don't go far, so I use my phone as a hotspot. Like I
Okay.
go like half a mile out and I'm good. As soon as I'm like on the water, I'm good. I don't need to go anywhere.
Yeah. The water is a great place to do
Yeah.
some thinking, whether it's on a boat or a beach. It's a really, really good place. What would you have to say for somebody who is looking to make that transition, who's looking to go from the corporate, the 9 to 5, and step into this life of freedom? What kind of advice would you have for somebody who is thinking of that, but they have that hesitation?
Well, pick your bitch, my friends. It's hard either way. But like I said, it's if you stay in the matrix, it's hard forever. Till like look at old people. Like they're in the matrix till the day they die.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna pick another hard that I have to learn new skills. I have to, learn new things. It's uncomfortable. That's fearful because you haven't done it yet. Like you're not a rock. Like change.
Yeah.
People don't change because of fears. And the fears that they're thinking aren't even actually real. They're things that they're worried about in the future. And what I kind of say is, what if that stuff wasn't real? What if you're thinking about things that, hey, what about if it worked out? What about if it worked out?
Yeah.
Like you're just drawn, you're programmed heavily into this matrix lifestyle where the devil wants you to stay there, my friends. And we're trying to pull you out. And it's this whole life game is a mental game. It's not what business you choose. It's not if you sell Amazon, if you create a course, if you do drop shipping. It's not the strategy. This whole game is a mental game. Everything from A to Z. And
1000%.
this is
I
what your problem is. It's not the strategy. It's the mental game. And unfortunately, people are so damn hectic and they're so caught in what if this happens? What I got bills to pay. We all do. We all have bills to pay. But are you happy now? Are you fulfilled now? Are you satisfied now? Or are you pissed off, always wanting more, wishing you had more time and more money to do the things that you want? So if you don't have a way to get that, then maybe you should look at this type of lifestyle and just model somebody who's already done it. But you cannot stay, my friends. I stressed it at the beginning. Steve stressed it. You have no idea what it's like to be completely free. And maybe you should actually grant yourself that wish and go do that for a little bit. And if you don't like it, go back to your old matrix lifestyle.
That's the
And
thing.
we'll guarantee it. Me and him together will guarantee that you will never, ever go back.
You'll never go back. But it's there. I talked to somebody else recently, and that's the thing. Her whole mindset was like she was had all the fears that come along with this. She was a woman in her 40s, single female, and she gave up the corporate life, sold everything she had, and went on the road with no plan. She just booked a flight to Spain and figured it out there. And I love hearing those stories. And her whole thing to kind of counteract that program is like, you know what? I'm going to travel. I can always go back.
Yes.
If things don't work out, or I don't like it, or it's not what I have it's envisioned in my mind, you can always go back. That life is waiting for you if you want to go back. But I guarantee you, like you said, once you taste true freedom, you'll never go back. It's
Never,
impossible.
never. And
It's
that's what I'm
impossible.
saying. People on the fence, like, jump. Go back if you don't like it. Jump.
Yeah.
Like risk. Everything takes risk. And here's something that's very important. A lot of people are employees that I deal with who are afraid to take this leap. And they have the employee mindset. They don't really risk. Everything is here, do this on a schedule. The risk is on the company, and they're not entrepreneurial in the mind. And
Right.
entrepreneurs are completely different breeds. Like we wing it. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to try. and I'm going to back on track and I'm going to fail. See, a lot of people grew up in the school system where failing was bad. And to be an entrepreneur, you have to fail. I say hurry up and fail.
Yeah.
So you can figure out that lesson, pull that lesson, get that data, look at it, and never make that damn mistake again.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. It's not a failure. If you learn from it, it's never a failure. It's only educational.
Right.
I failed many times in my life.
People see failure as no, I don't want to fail. Failing's bad. It's subconscious. They don't even know what's going on. I'm not going to try that because it's failing and it's bad. They don't even know this is subconsciously going on. So I don't.
Well, it goes back to the school system where you're just programmed to be a worker. That's it. Pass, fail. Don't cheat. Don't get help from your friends. Whether you're an entrepreneur, you're collaborating with other people. You don't have the answers, you get them from somebody else. And it's a different mindset. But even if somebody, there's a lot of remote work out there. So even if somebody just wants to kind of taste it, still have that job, that structure, you could do that as well. And then once you get out on the road, you can start learning a little bit more about what you want in life.
Yeah, I actually suggest to keep your 9 to 5 because this is a hard gig. And keep your 9 to 5, start a side gig, let your job pay for your life. You got to work a little extra hard. And once that takes over, then you'll understand and you'll let their side gig take over your full-time job.
Yeah. A lot of people have the excuse of like, no, I don't have time. Well, most people also watch Netflix for 2-3 hours a night or do this or that or whatever. But if you could just carve out, and it doesn't take a lot of time to build a significant side gig. It really doesn't. If you've got 2-3 hours an evening, a couple hours on weekends, you can make some really significant progress. And eventually, like you said, get that income up until it's matching your employment income, and then you can kind of cut loose of those ties.
Absolutely. And if you work with mentors, we can help you actually skyrocket that.
Yeah. Finding a mentor. And I think that's a key too. Finding a mentor or training somebody, like you said, who lives the life that you want to live.
Yeah.
Who's done what you want to do. They know how to get there.
They made the mistakes already.
Yeah. Yeah. You're still going to make mistakes. You're still going to fall flat in your face, but you can minimize the amount of time that you have to do that.
Absolutely. That's worth it. That's gold. Like that's worth gold to me personally.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So where do you plan on traveling first when you're able to cut loose geographically?
Well, I was thinking Spain and Costa Rica. I just read something about Costa Rica gives you a residency, no taxes for 2 years. You don't need to invest in the country. Like there's some big, huge incentives for digital nomads, huge incentives. And I'll open up companies everywhere and just travel around the world.
Yeah. There's a lot of, once you start getting into the financial aspect of it, which I love because there are so many things written into the U.S. tax code that people have no clue about. And if you are structured yourself correctly, and it's all legally, you can have LLCs or corporations in different countries that have low or no tax, corporate tax. You can have them in a trust. Like there's certain countries where the trust laws, the privacy laws are insane. The legal system works really slow. So you're protecting yourself both by giving yourself the tax benefits and privacy. And if anybody, U.S. is lawsuit happy, Canada's lawsuit happy. If you end up in one of those countries and you get sued, people aren't going to be able to take anything from you. That's a whole nother rabbit hole to get down to, but there's so much stuff out there when it comes to that. And, with a very, very few minor tweaks and very low investment, you can be set up so, as an American, we have the ones that have to worry about this, but you can be tax-free on your first $120,000 in income.
Right.
That's huge.
It's huge because look, if we stay an employee, what's your biggest expense as an employee? Taxes. And this is just another part of the game. So, to all you employees who aren't jumping off the fence, go get your employer to write a check to a business name. Do the same damn job. Like make a deal with your employer if you're not going to jump off this fence and stay there with your paycheck and just get them to pay you as a company. There's many incentives to do that. Like it's just different parts of the game, my friends, that you need to know. And this is to say, different information is what people need.
Yes. That's the absolute truth. Because a lot of people just don't know what they don't know.
Right.
And that's it. So Awesome. Well, any final words for someone who's thinking of taking that jump?
Oh my God, people just like go back to the old life if you don't like it. Why would you not want to try it? When you've got people, you see it. Me and Steve are not the only ones on the internet living a luxury lifestyle of freedom. You see it. It's a new world. The old world is crumbling. You see that too. If you're half awake, you see the old world crumbling. So this is not going to be easier in 5 years. So I cannot see why you wouldn't skip Netflix for 2 damn weeks just to learn something new that may help you improve your lifestyle, your whole family's damn lifestyle, right? I cannot see as a grown ass adult how you could not make that proper choice and at least try to better yourself and your family and try something new just because of fears. Like you got to go through that fear. The fears that you're thinking are not real. They're imaginary things made up. What if this doesn't work? What if that doesn't work? What if I'm judged? Guys, nobody's thinking about like live your life. It's time to live your life. When you're on your deathbed, think about this one. When you're on your deathbed, when I had the health scare, hey, am I living my life the way I want? No, then change it. If you are not living your life the way you want, that's my final words. You're wasting your time.
I agree. Nothing terrifies me more than being at the end of my life saying, man, I wish I had done this or I should have done this, but for whatever reason I didn't, because there are no do-overs. And that's the wrong time to start thinking about it.
Absolutely.
We never know how much time we have left.
No matter how old you are.
It doesn't matter how old you are. So I would agree with that 100%. If you want something, get after it now.
You're wasting your time if you don't. You're wasting your time.
Absolutely. All right, Darryl, thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it, and I think that was a lot of knowledge and a lot of stuff that people can really chew on when they're making these decisions. So appreciate you coming on.